So according to the Customer Management Summit that happened at the Kellogg School of Management in 2018, the game has changed. The Customer Management Summit of the Kellogg School of Management gathers thought leaders from practice and academia, so from multinational firms such as Unilever, Procter & Gamble and Mars, and leading professors in marketing science. The aim of this summit is to confront ideas from practice and academia and to find leading ideas for the future of marketing. And during the summit, they established the job profile with the associated competences for the marketers of the future. As future marketers, hopefully you find yourself with your competences in the following job profile. So the most sought marketers today are those that can manage, first of all, big data and big data analytics. Second, that are able to establish actions and strategies in customer relationship management and e-customer relationship management. And third, the marketers should be able to handle digital marketing strategies, digital marketing actions, and social media.
Skills you have to learn and which are asked when you come in firms are actually analytical skills, so data mining skills, digital marketing or social media marketing skills, and customer relationship management skills. That is how to use different tools such as loyalty programs, such as service recovery, such as services to establish a privileged relationship with the customer. But relationship marketing means that you establish ideally a one-to-one relationship, which is possible today on social media, or one-to-few, one brand to a few customers in direct contact with the customer. These are the three skills that were valued on the Customer Summit at Kellogg School of Business. When you look at most job descriptions aim at finding specialists in data mining, customer relationship management, or in even more digital or social media marketing. We are all aware that you won't be a big data miner, but it is important to understand that which are the tools that exist. And it's rather important to be an interface. You won't do the data mining on your own, but you will ask the data miner to do some analysis with the data or to do some extractions. This kind of target groups and target individual social media. So it's important for you to understand the language that data miners are talking. These are actually people who are trained in mathematics and statistics or econometrics, able to establish statistical modeling because it goes beyond of regression or analysis of variance. Data has to be modeled with very sophisticated mathematical tools. If you're familiar, if you have learned software tools such as R, Commander, it is very valuable on the job. Second, you're all on social media. When you start in the firm, they probably will ask you to manage the brand presence or the brand community on social media such as Facebook or WeChat in China, or Line in Asia, or Twitter, Instagram. So there are a lot of different medias for different targets. Generally, the brands are presented all of them, but still the presence is quite not perfect. Because again, all brands are doing that. And again, the question is how to attract the attention of the customers on social media to be perceived differently, superior to competitive brands. And all brands are now on social media to be perceived differently, superior to competitive brands. And that's why it is important to have this media presence. And there we have a lot of different tools in marketing. The traditional marketing mix with price and product, but rather more now the services that are offered. So this is a service dominant logic. The relationship that brands establish. This is a very important mean to differentiate one brand from another one. Experiences that you live with brands, which is called experiential marketing. Management or good product is not enough today to differentiate one from another one. A good product is the basis. And to make difference, brands are offering superior services and superior relationships. It is a good relationship. It is a relationship between a customer and a brand based on trust, satisfaction, perceived value, and trust. Now I'm asking you, do you trust brands? Are there brands in which you trust entirely? That's the crucial, the most important concept. Do we trust into brands? If we trust in brands, then we will have a good relationship with the brand, which would be a perfect differentiated and to differentiate one brand from another. trust. Relationships, services differentiate, individualized relationships, individualized services differentiate brands among each other. What was marketing when I was a product? What was the difference? I will try to show you how marketing was done almost one quarter of a century before, in the 90s. And how marketing is done today. Differences, things were not digital. The main focus was done on product management. And so I was product manager for skincare at Vichy, belongs to the L'Oréal group. The main focus was we worked on the product, on how to improve the product features. The customer was actually, I would not say not important, but on the other hand, we did not know the customer. Because how did we know the customer? We did some surveys. And the surveys we were doing included something like 150 customers. So we asked them regularly, once a year, about the satisfaction. So satisfaction surveys already exist. But we did it with a so-called representative sample, 120 customers, because it was difficult to do that. Today, how do we measure customer satisfaction? Every day. Whenever we have a transaction between a brand and a customer, satisfaction is measured with online satisfaction. Or with today what we call the Net Promoter Score. So the Net Promoter Score measures if we like products or the service and if we are ready to recommend it to other customers. So today we measure satisfaction after we have ordered the product, so satisfaction with the website is measured. Second, we measure satisfaction after delivery, satisfaction with delivery. And third, we measure satisfaction after the product has been used. So a couple of weeks later. This is how, for example, Amazon is proceeding. Every e-commerce site is working like that. We have the opportunity to get direct links, direct relationships with the customers to measure satisfaction, which was not the case in my time as a product manager. Which gives us the chance to really understand the customer, because we have here the big data. We have to understand the data. We have to see, we can directly measure if satisfaction increases or decreases. If it decreases, we have an indicator that shows us that the customer is in danger of defect. That is, that he might become unloyal. Then we can directly, individually react to try to make the customer loyal. That's one of the main differences. So if we wanted to measure efficiency, we had GfK, Nielsen, panel data, sales data, where we looked at in order to see if the sales increased. So the only mean to measure marketing efficiency was to see if sales increased after a given marketing. For example, if we spend money, huge amounts of money in television or in radio or in newspaper or magazine advertisement, the only mean to measure after this marketing action was to look at the penalty. And if we saw an increase in sales or in the market shares, then we considered that our action was efficient. But do you think, if the sales increase, then do you think that's always a sign that you are efficient in marketing? That there might be a lot of external exogenous factors. If you measure, for example, with a regression model, because we can measure, we can explain sales through, for example, advertising spendings. So if we do that, we would probably see an increase or a significant impact of advertising spendings on the sales level. But the problem is that we cannot include weather conditions. We cannot include advertisements from competitors. We cannot include a lot of other factors. It's the same if we would do it for beer. For example, if we measure the sales of beer, if we do it in the summertime, it might be related to hot weather. It might be related to if there's a sports event. When beer sales are increasing, it might be related to these types of events, which we don't control. So today, things are different. Today, we have the sales data on the individual database. You're my customer portfolio. I all know you via social media or via my database if you purchase on my website, for example. So I would exactly know to which customer I've sent an email, for example, with a discount. I would know to which customer I've sent an email with a free product as a gift, to which customer I've done personal appeal, to which customer I have sent and I could exactly measure if you bought or if you buy due to my content, due, for example, to my email, because I would know if you have clicked through my email to my website, or if I had done a pop-up, for example, on Facebook. So I would know if you have clicked through on this advertisement to come to my website, and if you finally bought. So I would know exactly everything about you. Where, how deep you clicked through on my website, and I would know if you transform your click through into purchase acts, and how many times you repeated your purchase. If it's your first purchase or your second, third. So if you're a loyal customer or a new customer, a one-shot customer or a loyal customer. So all this information is available. And I would know how much money I would have spent in you, because I would know that I've spent an email. An email is something like not even 1 cent. This can be calculated individually on the customer level and would enable me to know exactly how many revenues have generated by transaction and overall total time, and how much cost you have generated over the time. And I could calculate the profitability by customer, which is, by the way, included in the concept of customer lifetime value. I would exactly know my efficiency. I could exactly know if my marketing is efficient or not, and with which customer it's efficient, which are my top customers I should focus on mainly, which are the bad customers I should forget. So this is individual relationship marketing, or also customer relationship management. This is done with database. This is done with big data. So we know everything about the customer in terms of his or her satisfaction. We know what he bought. He came to the brand. Was he recruited by Facebook action, for example, or through television and toll-free number? If we see that the satisfaction of, for example, Net Promoter Score decreases from formerly 9 or 8 to 5 or 4, then it's a signal that this customer might be defective in the next couple of months. Or we can combine this with another score. For example, we could measure the interpurchase time. So if we know that the customer regularly buys every month within our brand, suddenly he only buys every 2 or 3 months, then there is a problem. So we could combine the satisfaction level with the interpurchase time. And if both are actually negative, that is, that interpurchase time increases and that is satisfaction decreases, then it would be time, if the customer is important, if it's a platinum customer, it would be time to contact this customer to make him or her loyal, to understand why satisfaction decreases, or to see why he or she purchases less than before.
Seen that big data management is the main difference between the marketing we do today and 25 years ago, where we had only access to panel data or to aggregated market share and sales data. A second major difference can be found in the relationship approach. 25 years ago, the main focus for differentiation was given to product management. The idea was to differentiate a brand from another one through individual and innovative product features, and only based on that. So product features were enough to differentiate one brand from another one. This is basically, next to product features, the other elements of the marketing mix were important to make the differentiation. For example, the price, the pricing mix, but also the distribution, and finally, the communication. So in summary, 25 years ago, marketing or product managers used the whole marketing mix to make the difference and to practice differentiation compared to competition. So differentiation based only on the marketing mix would be impossible today, because today we have so many international brands, international competition with very good products, and it becomes hard to make the difference between all these alternatives. If we take the example of the retail, if you go to a supermarket, how could you differentiate different beverage brands or different cereal brands? Based on innovation, this is probably impossible. Or if you take the example of smartphones, what is the difference, or how can you differentiate LG from Samsung, from Huawei, from Xiaomi? You found it probably difficult to differentiate. all these brands. So a marketing based on differentiation of only product features has become impossible today, but was possible 25 years ago. Today, the differentiation is rather based on good relationships, based on trust and satisfaction, based on personalization, but also based on perfect service delivery. And this is what you can see when you compare major players. For example, in the retail, if you compare a flagship store with high service dimensions, important service dimensions, personalization, and experiential aspects, if you compare this flagship store to a hard discounter, one can clearly see the differences in terms of service delivery, which is very high and important in the flagship store and very low in the hard discount store. So this shows that relationship matters and makes the difference to differentiate one brand from another one. Another example comes from the airline sector. If we compare premium carriers such as Singapore Airlines or Emirates, Air France or Lufthansa to low-cost carriers such as EasyJet or Ryanair or on the Asian market AirAsia.com, we can again see clearly the importance of the service and relationship dimension to differentiate the premium carriers from the low-cost carriers. In the domain of the premium carriers, a lot of services and premium services are offered to the best travelers, for example, the platinum travelers. We can cite the access to premium lounges, airline lounges. We can cite the priority counters for check-in. We can cite priority boarding. Next to these services, we can also cite personalization on board with the flight attendants. So this shows clearly how these airlines differentiate themselves from the low-cost carriers through a privileged, personalized relationship marketing approach. This relationship marketing approach aims at differentiating the carriers from low-cost carriers, not only through basic product features or even advanced product features, but the difference comes today compared to 20 years ago clearly from the high service dimension and from the personalized relationship dimension. That is why the today's marketer has not only to manage big data in order to better know customers and to analyze marketing performance, but he has also to master CRM or eCRM tools such as loyalty marketing, such as service recovery, such as service quality, such as personalization, in order to make the difference. Compared to 20 years ago, where the marketer had only to master the marketing mix dimensions. So as relationship matters today to differentiate brands, marketers of today have to master, next to the classical marketing mix with mainly product features, also relationship marketing features, service, relationship and personalization components. Related to the paradigm shift from product-oriented marketing to customer relationship-oriented marketing is also the shift from offensive marketing actions to defensive marketing actions. Offensive marketing actions aimed at acquiring new customers, so the main focus was on customer acquisition 20 years ago, whereas today the main focus is on customer retention and customer loyalty, because it was much easier in a less competitive environment to acquire new customers, to do customer acquisition. Whereas today, in a highly competitive sectors, it becomes much more difficult to acquire always new customers. Therefore, the main focus is today on customer loyalty and customer retention. And the final difference between marketing of today and the marketing 20 years ago is related to the communication tools. 20 years ago, marketers used mass communication tools, such as television advertising, newspaper, magazine advertising, billboard advertising, and mass distribution of leaflets in mailboxes. These communication tools were not very efficient because you could not directly relate the advertising efficiency to the sales efficiency. In other words, it wasn't possible to relate directly the advertising campaign to the sales of the brand. In other words, we could not measure if the sales were related to the advertisement campaign or to any other exogenous factors, as we have formerly already seen. Today, with the new digital media, such as emails or such as social media, it becomes possible to communicate at the individual level with the customers. This means that the brand or the company can directly communicate and send stimuli to the customers to which they can react. For example, individualized advertisements via emails or via social media campaign. So to take the example of L'Oreal, if L'Oreal wants to do an advertisement campaign today, they would not do it in mass media. So for example, journals or magazines, which they can roughly target according to the gender. For example, female magazines such as Elle or Marie Claire. They would rather go to social media, Facebook, for example, and would target there the woman who might be the principal target. Women between an age of, let's say, 25 to 35 years old, women with a given type of skin, for example, dry skin or mixed skin or greasy skin, women with a given ethnicity, for example, Asian skin or skin from Western women. So all these target criterions would be used to optimize an advertisement campaign. Next to this information, internal database information would be used, namely purchase history that gives an indicator about what customers prefer. So behavior information, which brands those customers bought formerly, which are the interests. So this information would be crossed with information from social media. And this information could be also crossed with price sensitivity information. In other words, are customers highly price sensitive to price decreases or price increases in terms of elasticity and in terms of decrease of demand when the price increases? There could be also used geographical information about where the customer lives, in which country or in which geographical region. This information can also be used to optimize the advertisement campaign. And progressively in the future, marketers will use more and more data coming from smart connected objects related to IoT, the Internet of the Things, giving them much more precise information about living habits, about health conditions, and well-being. All this information would be useful and highly strategic to better serve the customer on the individual level. And then on Facebook, there would be a pop-up that would appear on the Facebook platform or Facebook page of the concerned consumers who would see the advertisement. And as the advertisement would be perfectly targeted and individualized to the needs of the target groups, probably a big number of Facebookers concerned by this advertisement campaign would click on the link and would be routed to the e-commerce site of L'Oreal, where they could have information and where they could then realize a purchase. So compared to formerly, the marketer of today has a bundle of performant directly to the consumer-related digital media that enable him to establish a personalized relationship, that enables the marketer to directly target persons on, for example, social media or other medias, to make a personalized advertisement campaign, and to link directly the advertisement efficiency to the purchase behavior. In other words, the marketer can directly see if a given person has seen the advertisement campaign, if he or she clicked through, if he searched for information, and if he finally bought the product for which the advertisement campaign happened. So the marketing performance measurement becomes perfectly individual and measurable, which means that today's marketers have much more sophisticated tools to do advertisement on the individual level, to establish relationships and to measure performance individually, which enables them to calculate individual performance measures such as customer lifetime value in order to measure the revenues and the cost, and finally the profit by the customers individually. And finally, compared to 20 years ago, there's another shift related to technologies or digital technologies, electronic retail or electronic commerce, which is possible today due to the digital technologies marketers have. So a brand can be distributed offline and online. And even small brands can directly be sold without any intermediate on electronic platforms, such as, for example, Amazon Marketplace. So the separation between massive distribution, selective distribution, and exclusive distribution is progressively disappearing in favor of online marketplace platforms on which the brands can be distributed worldwide without any higher transactional costs. And finally, the pricing. Formerly, pricing was done on a rough segment level through price discrimination on the segment level, for example, for price-sensitive customers, which were supposed to be students or seniors, or according to time discrimination, where, for example, in the traveling sector, travelers could pay less if they travel in less busy time frames, or had to pay higher prices if they traveled in more busy time frames. Today, we can do dynamic individual pricing through yield management, and we can individually offer individualized pricing to the customers exactly according to the price sensitivity or the price elasticity, which can be measured with purchase history and transactional purchase data of the customer in the brand database. So on the individual level, brands are able today to offer to the individual customers exactly the right product at the right price in the right retailing channel with the right communication channel. So in summary, the most sought marketers today are those which can manage at the individual level big data, analyze data, who can establish an e-customer relationship management strategy based on trust, based on satisfaction, based on loyalty, based on customer lifetime value with tools such as service recovery, service quality, loyalty programs, and customer engagement. And those marketers who are able to use the new digital tools such as social media marketing, such as email marketing, but also the use of artificial intelligence and IoT-related devices to individually communicate with the consumers in an interactive value-added relationship. So those marketers who can use these digital technologies and social media with a final target to manage customer relationships and to engage customers so that they become not only loyal, but also co-creative, and that is that they engage into the brand to make communication and perhaps also to co-create products together with the brand. So are you ready for this challenge? Because these are the competences that are sought by the firms in the future when they are searching for marketers coming from business schools.